Hi everybody, this is Planet Mitch, and I'm been reviewing the onOne software for the iPad. The DSLR Remote software that they've provided is a pretty cool little control unit for your DSLR, and you can use the software to control your camera directly. Now, obviously this is wireless between here and my computer. Because you don't see any wires here, that's why it's obvious. But in order to control the camera, you do have to have the camera connected to a computer, be it a laptop. In my case, I have it connected to my iMac with a USB 2 cable. And so once you have that set up, there's a server piece of software that runs on the Mac. I believe they have it for the PC as well, and that server talks to the iPad, so that's how the iPad is making that connection. So it's updating the camera wirelessly to the iMac, in my case the iMac, and the iMac is talking to the camera, and so that's how it all kind of connects together. You have to have a connection, a physical cable connecting to the computer. Now, maybe you can use the wireless connection. I'm not sure. I don't have one of those, so I can't try it out. But I am recording this right now, controlling it through the iPad, and so it works pretty well. I had a couple of issues getting it connected, but that turned out, I think, to be my Wi-Fi setup, because for some reason my iPad wasn't connecting to anything. Once I realized that I was having trouble with Safari too, I was able to reboot the iPad, clear everything out, get started, and it connected right away, so that was good. One of the things that is kind of a distraction is that if you record a video, especially a long one like this one, once you press the stop button, it takes quite a while, up to a minute, maybe even more than a minute, depending upon how much time you recorded, for that to transfer and save on the computer. And so if you're expecting some rapid turnaround, you're not going to be able to do that. That's kind of a frustration, because you can't just stop and then restart instantly. You have to wait for that transfer to happen. So in terms of functionality, you really can't beat this. Let's show you a few of the features. We've launched the application, and now we're going to connect to the server on the iMac. Over here on the right-hand side, you have a bunch of options. You have live view, video mode, burst mode, auto bracketing, intervalometer, and where you can save your images. You get to save them to the computer or to the camera and the computer. Typically, well, right now this is a still that I recorded before, and if you just want to fire one off, you click the fire button. I think you heard the click in the background, and a new image will come popping in here shortly. It does take a few seconds for the image to come to the iPad, and you'll see it pop up here in the tray as well as sliding over, and we're still waiting. There it is. There's the new one. And so let's say you want to do live view, so you simply tap the little switch here that currently says off, and it turns on. And now we're in live view. So if I turn around, because this is behind me, and wave my hand, you'll see the refresh rate is pretty slow, but that's okay, because you're just wanting to get an idea of what's going on. If you want to do focus, then all you have to do is tap this button down here, or just tap in the area, and it will do the autofocus, because I have the 5D turned into the quick focus mode. You can tap on any of these settings to change, like the aperture, the f-stop. I can pick a different f-stop and you'll see the results. You can change the shutter speed, for example, and see the results. Change the ISO. So you can do all of these things. You can change the white balance if you want. Right now, since we're in live view, it doesn't really matter, but you can change the size of the still image quality that you want. Let's turn video mode on. So if we want to record a video, notice the button down here changed to start. So you record a quick video, and yes, I know that will be dark, but you see the red record icon shows up. And again, the refresh rate is relatively slow, but you are recording. And when you do stop, it says downloading movie to server. So this can take a little bit of time. So there are limitations. It's also a little bit slow in terms of the reaction time, like I've shown you, especially once you've recorded a video and having it transfer to the computer. You had the ability to do auto bracketing in terms of stills. You can set it up to do an intervalometer in order to do stills. You wouldn't need to buy an extra piece of equipment in order to do that. Using the intervalometer is very easy. You just simply tap on it. It brings up several options. The first is to set the interval, the number of shots, and then you have the option of doing a wait, a timer before you start the first shot. So let's just go with 2 seconds, for example, in between shots, and let's just make it really easy. We're going to do 2 shots. And so you set those 2 and then press the start. Now I've noticed that some of the timing can be kind of interesting depending upon how fast the images come across. So I'm not 100% sure that you always get what you want. And I also notice that it resets every time, which is possibly something that might be frustrating. If you wanted to repeat the same thing, then you've got to reset everything. Let's try it with 3 images and 1 second and see what happens. I'm sorry, start. You see it's taking longer than 1 second for those images to come in. And so sometimes you don't get exactly, I think, what you're wanting. But maybe most people aren't doing 1 second time frames. So if you're doing longer than 1 second, you'll probably get much more accurate results. Here's a situation where the iPad is oriented vertically, or portrait, depending upon how you like to call it. So you see the view of the still that I took is up here, and the controls are here showing you what the different configurations are and the fire button. And so if you switch it, let's go to full screen, by the way, so you can see what that's like. And that gives you the option. There's the new image that I just shot, came in. And then if you want to rotate it landscape, you get a bigger image. You still get this little control panel down at the bottom. And then switching out of full screen gives you the controls on the left. You've got the thumbnails, which show you what your current images are, and then the mode that's like on the top of the camera. Fire button still in the lower right corner, assuming you're right-handed, of course. And so there's the 2 different orientations, landscape and portrait. Alright, so one of the things that's really nice about this is the ability to set up your layout through the iPad so that you can see exactly what you're going to record, especially in a situation where, let's say for example, you're not in a big studio, and for my camera right now, the 5D, is on the edge of my desk, and it's kind of hard to get behind it to see the live view and to see whether or not I'm in the picture. So in a single person setup, this is kind of a really nice tool to be able to find out if everything's set up the way you want it to work. Right now the 5D is recording, so I can't change the settings, but you would normally be able to change the f-stop and the shutter speed and the ISO and those kinds of things. You can also do the autofocus. And then your card goes full, like it did on the 60D, and so now that's not recording. But it gives you the ability to get a very good visual idea of what the setup is before you start recording. And so I think in that regard itself, it's pretty cool. The iPad screen, as I've shown you before, is, it's really large and really nice to be able to have that much functionality. And so I think the iPad's a probably much better control unit than the phone. Although I haven't tried the phone unit, the iPad's, the ability to see everything on it all in one big screen is certainly very nice. So if you have a situation where you need to either have a director watching, or you need to be at a distance from your camera and still be able to control the camera while it's operating, the onOne software is a great tool, and I highly recommend it. It's not perfect, it's not going to solve every little issue, but it's quite worth the $50 for the iPad version.